The world appears to us as a solid, structured reality filled with tangible objects and clear boundaries. We experience a physical world of objects, distances, and the passage of time. Our senses provide us with a continuous stream of information, creating a coherent picture of our surroundings. But what if this perception is an illusion? What if the reality we think we know is just a construct of our minds, a mere interpretation of sensory data? What if our senses deceive us, presenting a fabricated version of reality? Just like a magician's trick, our perception might be a carefully crafted illusion. This is the unsettling possibility we must confront. The idea that what we see, hear, and feel might not be the true essence of the world around us. Our minds, in an attempt to comprehend the world, construct frameworks of understanding. These mental models help us navigate our environment and make sense of our experiences. These frameworks, while useful, may not reflect the true nature of reality. They are simplifications, approximations that help us function but might obscure deeper truths. The reality we perceive is filtered through our senses and interpreted by our minds. This interpretation is influenced by our past experiences, beliefs, and expectations. This process of perception is subjective and limited. We can only perceive a fraction of the vast complexity of the universe. We see only a narrow band of the electromagnetic spectrum, missing out on countless other wavelengths that exist. We hear only a limited range of frequencies. Unable to detect the myriad of sounds that fill the air around us, our experience of reality is but a small fraction of what might actually exist. The universe is vast and mysterious, far beyond our limited perception. This limited perception forms the basis of our understanding of the world, but it is a shaky foundation built on illusions. We must remain open to the possibility that reality is far more complex and wondrous than we can imagine. Consider the concept of dimensions. We readily accept length, width, height, and time as fundamental aspects of reality. We measure, quantify, and navigate our world based on these dimensions, but are they truly inherent properties of the universe, or are they constructs of our minds? These dimensions may be nothing more than tools, mental constructs that help us organize and make sense of our sensory experiences. Without a mind to perceive them, would these dimensions even exist? Imagine a universe devoid of conscious observers. Could we speak of length or width if there were no minds to conceive of such concepts? The very act of measurement, of defining boundaries and distances, requires a mind capable of imposing such order. The universe, in its raw, unobserved state, may be devoid of such dimensional frameworks. The mind is a masterful storyteller, weaving narratives and constructing realities from the raw data of experience. It seeks patterns, imposes order, and creates meaning where there may be none. This tendency for fabrication is at the heart of the illusion of dimensions. The mind, in its quest for understanding, constructs the illusion of a dimensionally structured reality. It takes the flux of experience and divides it into categories, creating the illusion of separate objects existing in a framework of space and time. This process of fabrication, however, is not limited to dimensions. The mind applies this same creative, illusory process to all aspects of experience. Our thoughts, emotions, memories, all are products of the mind's tendency to fabricate and project. We live in a world of our own making, a mental landscape shaped by perception and interpretation rather than objective truth. If dimensions are but constructs of the mind, what then of the mind itself? This question has puzzled philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. The mind, with its vast capabilities and mysterious nature, remains one of the most intriguing subjects of study. Is the mind a concrete entity, a solid foundation upon which we can build our understanding of reality? Or is it something more elusive, a fleeting presence that defies our attempts to pin it down and define it? Or is the mind itself an ephemeral phenomenon, as fleeting and insubstantial as the dimensions it creates? Just like the clouds that drift across the sky or the dandelion seeds carried by the wind, the mind seems to be in a state of constant change. The mind, upon closer examination, reveals itself to be a collection of transient processes, thoughts, sensations, perceptions, all arising and dissolving in a constant flux. These processes are like waves in the ocean, continuously forming and dissipating. There is no fixed, unchanging entity we can point to and call the mind. It is not a static object, but a dynamic flow of experiences and mental events, ever changing and evolving. It is a process, not a thing. Much like a river that is never the same from one moment to the next, the mind is a continuous stream of consciousness, always in motion. This understanding of the mind as a process, as something constantly changing and impermanent, is central to many Eastern philosophies, particularly Buddhism. In these traditions, the mind is seen as a series of interconnected events rather than a singular, unchanging entity. If the mind itself is in